welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you this Wednesday afternoon from our studios in Joliet, Illinois. We're coming to you this Wednesday afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. All right. Hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, you are doing well. All right. I hope everyone is having a wonderful summer. It's just so good to be alive and just so good to be a child of God. It's so good to be a Christian. It's so good to be saved, however you want to put it. It's such a good feeling to be in that place in your life, and it's just wonderful. What we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about including God in your including God in your relationship, and that's what's very important, and that's what we're going to talk about today because a lot of times when we meet our soulmates, we have to give God credit for our soulmates, for meeting our soulmates and putting us together, because some of us are just made for each other. Especially when it's a soulmate, you just know that you're made for that person. And what we're going to be talking about today is including the Lord, including God in your relationships. Because when you include God in your relationship, it makes the relationship go much smoother. You're following the scriptures as to wives being submissive to their husbands, and husbands loving their wives. And even before you get married, when you're seeing somebody and you know that's the one, you still have to include. It's very important, even then, even more then, to include God in your relationship. And there's a lot of things that you should be talking about before you walk down the aisle. We've mentioned it several times on the program. You should be talking about, you should be discussing whether you're going to have kids, how many kids, or if you're going to have kids at all, what church, and another important thing. The first thing that's important is talking about the kids. And the second thing, which is the basis for everything, is finding out what church you're going to attend if you did not meet in the same church, or if one of you was in church at the time and the other one wasn't. Find out what church you're going to attend, because that strengthens your relationship. You can get involved in different programs at your church, like marriage couples ministries, and you can become role models for young people that are looking to get married. You can be, overseers, or you can, be with them or go out with them and help them along their journey, and the things that they are anticipating on going through. You probably have already been there, and you can tell them. So, especially if you've been married a long time. My wife and I have been married 35 years. So there is some things that we know, some things, the do's and don'ts in a relationship. And part of the scriptures, and scripture teaches us everything we need to know about marriage. Just like any other thing or book or law that you might have. Some people take it to the extreme or try to use it to control people. But that's not what the Word of God is for. It's not to control people. It's as a learning tool. It's to help us to become perfect Christians, or to become saved and stay saved. One of the things that the Bible talks about, and a lot of people take advantage of it, was says wives to be submissive to your husbands. Just because you're being submissive to your husband don't mean that your husbands are to be tyrants and overbearing, and you gonna do what I tell you to do. That's not what that means. Where's my supper? Real demanding. Kids get quiet when you come home because they don't want to get dad upset because he starts throwing things. That's not what being having a submissive wife. You're going to be barefoot and pregnant. No, that's not what that means. That means that you both are working together on one accord, and you are sharing the gospel together. You're praying together. You're attending church together. Those are the things that, and when you treat your wife right, she's gonna do anything you say anyway. or any suggestion you have, she'll follow them anyway because you're treating her right. The same thing with our husbands. You can't expect things from your wife if you're not treating her right. When you treat her right and show her love and kindness, you can get just about anything from your wife. Because wives love a loving husband. That's what it's all about. They love to have a loving husband, just like husbands love to have a loving wife. So we have to make sure that we are loving on each other. We mentioned it so many times on the program, and it's not always about sex, but that is a very important part of your marriage. So you want to make sure you keep that going in your marriage, keep the fire burning in your marriage, and keep God in your marriage. Including God in your relationship. And again, even if you're just seeing someone and you, because a lot of times when you see someone, you'll know right away if that person is the right one for you. You'll know right away. A lot of times person's no good, but for some reason we tend to stay around them. Oh, maybe I could change them. No, you can't change a person. So if the person is showing you who they are when you first meet them, trust me, that's who they are. People do change, but that is not our job as children of God to change people. It's our job to be examples. And that's the same thing with if you're in the ministry, if you're a pastor. It's not your job to change anyone. Your job is because you can't change a person. Our job as ministers is to teach people and show them the right way. And God will do the change because we're not God. We can't change anyone. Just like in a marriage, you can't change a husband that don't go to church. You have to pray for him, and if he's doing what he's supposed to do, and the only thing he's not doing is going to church, leave that man alone. Don't start getting on him every time you go to church. Look at you, you ain't going to church. You told me you were going last week. Don't go there because the more you do that, the less he's gonna want to go. And then first of all, he's gonna be, what kind of church is that? Where the people come home and nag people. Is that what they teach y'all at that church? So you got to make sure that we are loving each other as married couples, and including God in our marriage. And when you include God in your marriage will turn out just wonderful. It's not going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect church. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage. There's no such thing as a perfect job. But you will learn to be content in your marriage, and you just enjoy your marriage because again, and I've said it so many times on our program, that we make things hard in our life. We make our marriages hard, and marriage is not hard. Is that, if you love someone, it's not hard to love them. Just like when you like your job or love your job, it's not considered work. It's a pleasure to go to work. It's a pleasure being married. It's an honorable thing to be married and have a loving wife, and you set examples for our young men. That's why our young men are so gone astray, because there's no father figures or no figures in husband figures in the home where they can see where husband and wife is loving each other. So when they decide that they want to get married, they'll know what to look for in a future spouse. These are the things that needs to be taught in our churches, instead of putting it in them the wrong way. They need to be taught to them instead of telling them. I'll just put it that way. Instead of telling our people, we need to teach our people as pastors. And the mothers in the church, years ago, mothers in the church would teach the young women how to be a wife, how to go about being a good wife, And being a good wife don't mean you have to know how to cook. See, that's what people get that mixed up. They think that's part of it, and then that's a plus if you have a wife that cooks. And if your wife does not cook, but she does everything else, oh well, you learn how to cook, or just take it out, eat carry out. There's nothing wrong with that, But years ago, mothers taught their daughters how to cook, But nowadays, mothers are busy, grandmothers are busy, because grandmothers are not like they used to be. Grandmothers are younger and younger, and a lot of times grandmothers are still in the workforce. So a lot of times they might not have that opportunity to teach you how to cook. But I'll tell you one thing: if you want to learn how to cook, Google it. And they'll tell you anything you want to know about cooking if you Google it. So yeah, there's no excuse there if you want to learn how to cook. If that's something you don't like doing, don't feel like you have to be forced to do that. And husband, if your wife, you know your wife, you married your wife, and she didn't cook then, and you married her anyway, you know she didn't cook. So why are you expecting her to learn to cook? If you know how to cook, do most of the cooking yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. We have to work together as married couples and being married. And again, including God in our marriage. It is just so wonderful when you attend church together as a couple. And then you meet other couples in the church, and it's just so nice. We got together with some friends a few weeks ago, and we hadn't seen in a while. And we all went to church together at one time. It was just so nice to meet up with them, have a wonderful time, fellowship, and those are the things you do when you're married, and including God in your marriage. It's just it's just so wonderful when you get together and have fellowship with other couples, and learn to fellowship with each other. There's nothing wrong with that, fellowshipping with each other, and have fellowship with your children. Take your children somewhere. There's nothing wrong with taking your kids somewhere. Take them somewhere where they'll get exposed to the finer things of life. Take them to museums and things like that so they'll know their history. Teach them history. Teach them the history of your family, because they want to know. You want your children to know uh, all about their relatives. Because I know in my family, it just so many of us. Because on my grandmother's side, I don't think I know too many of them, but I know quite a few of the people on my grandfather's side. So that's what you don't want to happen. You want to know both sides of the family. You want to get to know them well. If you're keeping God in your marriage, it makes everything goes much smoother. Now, of course, you're still gonna have those days, those rough days, but you'll learn to get past those. You'll learn forgiveness. That's one thing. Keeping God in your marriage, you'll learn forgiveness. You'll learn how to say "I'm sorry." You'll learn how to say "Forgive me." You'll learn how to love as Christ loved the church. And this is Pastor Larry going to be signing off until we meet again with Let's Talk Marriage. All right, all right, all right. Oh, well, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you out to our services at New Zion Christian Center. We're located at 15014 South of Splain Street in Plainfield, Illinois. Our services begin on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Now, remember, if you have any questions or concerns or comments, please remember to like and share these videos. If you're following us on Let's Talk Marriage, there's nothing wrong with sharing a video more than once. So just keep sharing it. Share it with all your friends. Share it in your inbox. Share it in your messages. Share it in text messages. Just get the message out about Let's Talk Marriage and New Zion Christian Center. And we are going to be signing off. And I love you with the love of Jesus. And there's nothing you can do about it. Until we meet again, this is Pastor Larry with Let's Talk Marriage. All right, all right, all right. Now I got to pretend like I'm doing something.